as you heard, my name is Charity Migwi. Um, I'm Charity Migwi. I work with Oil Change International, and it's sad what Anthony has shared. Um, and when these climate impacts happen, uh, who covers for the damage? So I just want to focus and emphasize more on climate finance. We know that Africa contributes the least in terms of global greenhouse gas emissions, just approximately 3 to 4%. But Africa is disproportionately affected by the impacts of climate change, as Anthony has shared. As we've experienced this year, intense floods in the country, and in past years, extreme drought conditions and heat waves. Um, in addition to that, most African countries are in a critical debt situation, and they are being forced to prioritize paying these debts to wealthy countries instead of addressing their vital public needs, such as the climate crisis. And even if climate finance is offered in terms of to global south countries, most of the time this financing comes in the form of loans which have to be repaid back. So you can imagine the families that Anthony has mentioned. These people, they're not essentially covered, but they do have to pay in form of taxes to cover the debt that we owe to rich nations who are polluting to cause this uh, climate havoc in the first place. Um, and as Anthony has said, this is unfair. We have seen in past years, in the year 2022, about 7 trillion of fossil fuel subsidies um, was allocated globally, um, and only approximately 700 billion was channeled into clean renewable energy in the same year. Um, in as much as these investments has risen to 2024 to about 2 trillion for the first time in 2024, it still falls short um, of what is needed to meet climate targets. Um, so we know that the 100 billion dollars promised during the Paris Agreement has always fallen short year after year after year. Um, and just 3% of all the public finance um, has gone to clean energy, and of this, only about 83% was in form of loans, and out of this, only 6% um, was in the form of grants. So you can see it's still global south countries who contribute the least to climate impacts are the ones paying a lot for this damage. Currently in Africa, over 600 million people lack access to electricity, and almost a billion have no access to clean energy in terms of cooking. Uh, and most countries rely on fossil fuels, imported fossil fuels, which makes them income or debt. There's massive inequalities, and even oil and gas producing countries such as Nigeria, we have seen that they still do not have, um, they're still not meeting their electricity needs. They're still not as developed as it's supposed or alleged that fossil fuels leads to development. This Nigeria is still not there. Um, so, in as much as 7 trillion is being allocated to subsidize fossil fuel industry, we have seen that this does not reap profits for the people. Instead, this money goes to the pockets um, of the fossil fuel industry leaders at the expense of the people and the planet. Um, and when these developments come to Africa, most of the time um, they just cause inequality, conflicts, um, and even new projects coming up are bound to be stranded assets because the world is trying to shift to renewable energy, and these projects take 10, 20 years of more to even come up. So by then, the world will have, most of the global north countries will have already transitioned and leaving no market uh, for the fossil fuel projects that Africa is developing right now. Um, so we need urgent climate finance to be able to transition from fossil fuels to clean renewable energy. Um, and according to the International Renewable Energy Agency, um, the renewable energy sector could create up to 10 million jobs by 2030. Again, this is something that is very much needed in the African continent. And where, as we go to COP29 in Baku this year, the message that we should be pushing for is that we need a fast, fair, fully funded phase out of fossil fuels. And key demands is one, we need to scale up the long overdue $100 billion annual target. On top of that, we need this finance to come in the form of grants, not loans, to avoid deepening the debt crisis. We need this finance to go into renewable energy sector and not fossil fuel projects. And we urgently need to cancel the debt. Um, and debt cancellation should not come in the form of more austerity measures. We have seen the youth protesting in Kenya because of these austerity measures. So we just need to cancel the debt. And this must be in addition to uh, climate finance. The stakes are even higher, and for us um, to secure a fast, fair, um, and sufficient climate finance, these demands have to be met. I'll stop there. Thank you. So the question on pushing governments to establish um, climate climate change funds um, essentially um, is not really about government in itself, um, because even if they were to establish that kitty, will it in the end have the necessary funding to address climate impacts once they occur? So this is why instead, I mean, the kitty is there, and we keep on pushing for it, working with other local NGOs. But the critical issue here, especially as we go to COP, is about um, climate finance, covering already the damage that has happened, mainly across global south countries. Um, we've seen uh, Africa only contributes like 3 to 4% of greenhouse gas emissions. But why should we be the ones to pay up? Why should it be that our governments have to find the money to cover that climate change? So this is why we are asking global north countries who bear the biggest responsibility of climate impacts to be the ones to cover that cost, and that is why we are pushing for them um, to meet the climate finance demands, to honor and scale up the $100 billion that was promised since Paris Agreement. Um, and for this money, not to come in form of loans, but to come in form of grants. In previous years, we have seen um, global north countries committing to just energy transition partnerships, where they allocate a certain number of funds to a particular country. But the danger with these funds is they usually come with austerity measures that dictate, we're giving you this money, but you have to utilize this percentage, say on gas or on other dangerous distractions. And that is what we do not want. We do not want global north countries to come and tell us, we're giving you this money, you have to pay us back, but in the time that we're giving you, you have to invest it in fossil fuels. We have to push these global north countries who bear the biggest responsibility uh, to honor up and take responsibility for the damage that they have caused, to be the ones paying up. And yeah, to meet, to essentially channel these funds in form of grants and channel these funds to clean renewable energy that do not cause harm to the people and to the planet, as we have seen other other fossil fuel energy causing harm to the environment and to the people and communities. And more so, on the issue of climate finance is the urgent need to cancel the debt, because even if that climate finance comes, and most countries like in Kenya, we still debt stricken, government eventually will try and prioritize other social issues instead of addressing the climate crisis. So at the end of the day, we need to push global north countries to be the ones to take responsibility and to pay up, and not to impose austerity measures on the funding that they give.